Podcasting is a great way to create content to help grow your digital footprint and help yourself be discovered in the online space. Let's face it, anybody can create a podcast these days. You just have to be able to talk about something and maybe have a guest on your show once in a while and interview them about a particular topic. But the very best podcasts have professional sounding intros, those branded intros with the announcer and the music. How do you do that? Well, it's not really that hard. We'll have a look at it next. My friend Ali Nicole has a podcast called The Wow Seat on blogtalkradio.com. Now, she's got intro music and she puts it together really quite well, so I don't need to create anything for her, but just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to go have a look at her podcast here and create something simple so you can follow the same kind of process. So let's have a look at the podcast. If we go to her webpage, really it's the blogtalkradio.com webpage, and visit the Wow Seat podcast. Here it is. I just look at the description and we can see it here, and I just sort of pick out things that make sense to me in terms of what I might say as a branded introduction. So I see things that stand out like helping individuals level up their wow factor in lifestyle, careers, and more. Features special guest experts. There's some sort of key things that jump out at me there. So I'll take that and I'll put together a quick script, really just a couple of lines, and then I'll use that to speak when I say the intro. Okay, I've put it together here, and as you can see, it's really quite short. There's maybe 35 words, something like that, and I'm just making sure that I'm giving a short description, talking about the name of the podcast, mentioning that, and introducing the host. So here goes. Let's give it a shot. Helping individuals level up their wow factor in lifestyle, careers, and more, and featuring experts sharing their wow factor with the world. This is the Wow Seat Podcast. Now, here's your host, Ali Nicole. Wow, she does it all. Of course, you could introduce the show for yourself, too. It doesn't have to be somebody else's voice doing the introduction. Just say something at the end like, "Let's get this party started," or "Now let's get started with the show." Now, obviously, I don't have a big booming voice like you might hear from an announcer at the movies. Coming soon to theaters near you. But that's okay, it just has to sound relatable, like you're having a conversation with a friend. Now it's time to put some pieces together and actually create the composition that will be the podcast intro. So what I've done is I've taken the intro that I recorded, that announcement piece, and I've put that down here on track 1 of my video editing software, and I'm using Camtasia, but you can use whatever your preferred editing software might be. So it's down here on track 1. This is just the raw recording. Helping individuals level up their wow factor. So I need some music to go behind that. Now I found a track that I liked on Soundstripe. That's one of the places I go to, and it is a paid site for music that you can use in videos and in other places. You can get free music on YouTube as well, but I like to go to other places to look just because then I know not everybody is going to have it. It's not going to be as common as some of the free stuff is out there. So I found a couple of interesting tracks here that I like for this particular use. This one's 3 minutes and 7 seconds long, and it's obviously too long for a podcast intro. But that's okay. I'm going to drop it down here on track 2 and pull it up to the front so it matches up with my announcement piece. And I'm just going to reduce the magnification a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll just trim this back. And I'm going to trim it back and I'll magnify it again so I can see more of those 2 clips. And you can see that this clip here of my announcement is about 18 seconds. So I'm going to leave this one at, I'm going to pull it up to about 30 seconds, and we can fade it out if we need to. 30 seconds is a pretty common length for an intro, but it's actually a bit long in my opinion. I think an intro to a podcast should be maybe 15 or 20 seconds at the most. And then the host should come in and start talking about that particular show. So let's have a listen now and see what this sounds like.
Helping individuals level up their wow factor.
So obviously the music is too loud and my voice is too quiet, so we need to make some adjustments here. So what I'll do is I'll just reduce the volume a little bit of this. It's at 100% now. This is the music track. I'll reduce that down to 50%. Or something close to it. There, 49, 52, we'll try that. And what I'm going to do is raise the volume a little bit of my voice. And I'm actually going to add an audio effect called audio compression to my voice. And what that does is levels out the volume, because when we speak, we quite naturally increase and decrease our volume levels. And as you practice, especially if you're an ex-broadcaster like me, you get less of those extremes of really quiet and really loud. But it still happens to the best of us. And so this audio compression effect, as you can see, just levels out all of the spikes that might happen in volume. And then I can raise the overall volume a little bit of my voice. I don't want it to go past this green line because then I could get distortion. But if I keep it just below the green line, I should have a little bit of an elevated volume to go over top of what is now a slightly reduced volume level for the music. So let's have a listen to that now.
Helping individuals level up their wow factor in lifestyle, careers, and more.
So that's pretty good. I might actually reduce the volume of the music track just a little bit more. And what I think I'll do is, because it's got kind of a catchy intro there, that first piece with the horns, that piece there, I'm going to make that a little bit louder, and then I'm going to drop the volume back down to 50% when I start speaking. So what I'll do is add an audio point here. I'll add a couple of audio points. And I can see on this track, I'll just magnify it a little bit, but I can see that my speaking starts right about here on track 1. So where that lines up with the music, I'm just going to pull this audio point over a little bit. And I'm going to raise this piece, those introductory horns, I'm going to raise that up to 100%, or 112 if that's what my option is here. Yeah, it goes 96, 99, 112, that's going to be okay. But then you can see the audio drops right after I start speaking. Just as I start speaking, it's going to drop down to that 50% level. So let's have a listen to that.
Helping individuals level up their wow factor in lifestyle, careers, and more, and featuring experts sharing their wow factor with the world. This is the Wow Seat Podcast. Now, here's your host, Ali Nicole Wow, She Does It All.
So I got a little bit of a glitch there, but that's okay. That'll come out in the wash when I render the video. That turned out pretty good. Now I know editing can be intimidating for some people, but let's face it, if you're going to run a podcast, you're probably going to need to learn a little bit about the very basics of editing at least. And this is pretty much as simple as it gets. It's just 2 tracks. So it's your announcement that you've recorded, and it's a background music track. You put those together and there you go. You've got a podcast intro you can use again and again and again, and it becomes part of your brand, and it becomes part of what people expect to hear as they tune into your podcast. I hope that helps you get going and make a really good professional sounding podcast going forward. All the best.